Let's be brutally honest. She didn't leave you. She discarded you. There is a fundamental difference. Leaving is an act of departure. Discarding is an act of disposal. You weren't a partner who was parted with. You were an object that had lost its utility. And the most agonizing part of this entire demolition is that you handed her the blueprint for your own destruction. You gave her the schematics of your weaknesses, the access codes to your emotional core, and you called it vulnerability. You called it trust. She called it leverage. She didn't just walk out the door. She dismantled you, piece by piece, long before she ever packed a bag. You remember the subtle shifts? The way her laughter became a little more strained, a little less frequent. The way her phone was suddenly always angled away from you, a silent fortress you were not permitted to enter. The new friend at work, the one she said was just a friend, whose name began to occupy more and more of her stories. You, in your programmed state of complacent provider, saw these as random data points, insignificant glitches in the matrix of your stable relationship. You were wrong. They weren't glitches. They were battle plans being drawn up in plain sight. She wasn't drifting away. She was staging an invasion of her own life, and you were the territory being abandoned for a more promising conquest. The final conversation wasn't a discussion. It was a verdict reading. You were the defendant in a trial you didn't even know was happening, and the sentence had been decided months ago. Remember the look in her eyes? It wasn't sadness. It wasn't regret. It was a chilling, almost bored finality. The detached calm of a CEO firing an underperforming employee. She had already processed the emotions, mourned the end of what you were, and moved on while you were still sleeping next to her. The words she used were a masterclass in psychological warfare, designed to neutralize you, to make you feel like the bad guy for feeling betrayed. I need to find myself. I feel like I've lost a part of me. Not you. It's me. These are not explanations. They are tactical smoke grenades thrown to cover a strategic retreat. The translation is simple. I have found a more potent source of emotional and genetic validation, and your services are no longer required. You bought into the grand lie. The myth sold to you since birth. That if you are a good man, loyal, stable, and supportive, you will be rewarded with unwavering devotion. You built your entire identity around being the reliable provider, safe harbor. You believed that love and attraction were a logical transaction, an exchange of goods and services. You provided security, and in return, you expected fidelity and desire. But you failed to understand a primal, inconvenient truth of human nature, a truth that operates in the shadows beneath the surface of civilized society. Attraction is not a choice. It is a reaction. It is a visceral, biological response to signals of power, not petitions for affection. While you were busy building a comfortable cage for her, another man was reminding her that she had wings. He didn't offer her a 401k plan. He offered her chaos, unpredictability, the thrilling spike of dopamine that comes from uncertainty. He represented the wild, untamed genetic code that her deepest instincts are programmed to seek. Ancient philosopher Niccolo Machiavelli wrote that a ruler must be both a lion to frighten the wolves and a fox to recognize the traps. You were a perfectly adequate lion, guarding the den. But you were a terrible fox. You never saw the trap until its jaws were already clamped around your soul. You played only half the game, and in the world of interpersonal power dynamics, playing half the game is a guaranteed way to lose it all. What if her betrayal was not a failure of her character, but a failure of your strategy? What if her leaving you for him wasn't a random act of cruelty, but a predictable, almost scientific response to a set of ancient biological laws you were never taught? This is the cold reality you must now face. You were not in a partnership. You were in a silent, constant negotiation of power, desire, and perceived value. And your stock plummeted not because you were a bad man, but because you were a predictable one. You were checkmated in a game you never even knew you were playing. But what if you could learn the rules? Not just learn them, but master them. What if you could rebuild yourself from the ground up, not as the nice guy she left behind, but as the architect of your own reality, a man whose presence is so powerful that indifference becomes his greatest weapon? The journey from the ruins of your old self begins now, but it requires you to burn the rulebook society gave you and write your own. If this battlefield feels familiar, if you've ever felt the cold steel of this kind of psychological blade, then this is your new command post. Subscribe to this channel, activate all notifications, and press the like button to signal you are ready for this rearmament. We are building a legion here, a brotherhood of men who refuse to be pawns in someone else's game. And in the comments below, I want to know what territory you're fighting from. Don't just tell me your city or country. Tell me the ground from which you will rise. Let's see how far this new empire extends. Your authority did not vanish in the final confrontation. It wasn't stolen in the night. It was surrendered, piece by piece, in 1,000 silent transactions you didn't even recognize as negotiations. The end was not an event. It was the final symptom of a disease you allowed to fester in the core of your being. This was a war of attrition, and you were so focused on keeping the peace that you didn't realize you were ceding territory every single day. The fall is never visible. It happens in the silence, in the hesitation, in the yes you utter out of fear of the consequences of no. It happens in the space between her words, where you scramble to fill the void with appeasement. It began with the tests. They are never overt declarations of war. They are subtle probes, psychological reconnaissance missions designed to gauge the strength of your frame, the resilience of your boundaries. Do you remember when she was running late and you had dinner reservations? She called, not with an apology, but with a challenge disguised as a flimsy excuse. You, wanting to be the understanding partner, said, "It's okay, don't worry about it. You just failed a test." You communicated that your time, your plans, your standards are secondary to her whims. She tested. You yielded. She won. Remember the joke she made at your expense in front of your friends? A subtle jab at your career, your hobbies, your ambitions. You laughed along, a hollow, forced sound, because to object would be to make a scene. You just failed another test. You broadcasted to her, and to the world, that your dignity is negotiable. Every time you conceded, you weren't being nice. You were being weak. Weakness, in the primal operating system of attraction, is contemptible. This erosion of power follows a predictable, 5-stage decay. The first stage is emotional concession. This is where you make her emotional state the center of your universe. She's in a bad mood, so you cancel your plans. You walk on eggshells. You become a court jester trying to coax a smile from the queen. You've handed her the remote control to your own nervous system. Her feelings become your facts. Her drama becomes your reality. You think you're being supportive, but what you're actually doing is teaching her that her emotional outbursts are a powerful weapon to control your behavior. You are rewarding the very thing that destabilizes the dynamic. From there, you descend into the second stage, loss of control. This is where your will dissolves into hers. It starts small. What do you want for dinner? I don't know. What do you want? This isn't politeness. It's an abdication of leadership. A man without a plan is not a man she can follow. Soon, she's planning all your weekends, choosing your friends, and subtly vetoing your ambitions. You wanted to start that business, but she had concerns. You wanted to take that trip with your friends, but she needed you that weekend. You didn't see it as control. You saw it as partnership. But a partnership between a leader and a follower is a dance. A partnership between two followers is a standstill, and she will inevitably seek a new dance partner who knows how to lead. The third stage is the desperate scramble for validation. Your sense of self-worth is now outsourced. You need her permission to feel good about yourself. You fish for compliments. You constantly ask, "Do you love me?" Not as an expression of affection, but as a plea for reassurance, a desperate check on your plummeting stock value. Your achievements at work feel hollow until she validates them. Your opinions are held loosely, ready to be discarded if they meet with her disapproval. You have become a mirror, reflecting only what you think she wants to see. And no woman is attracted to a mirror. She is attracted to the unshakable reality of a man who knows his own worth, independent of her gaze. This leads directly to the fourth, and most pathetic stage, affective dependency. Your emotional state is now entirely tethered to hers. Her smile is your sunshine, her frown is your thunderstorm. If she has a good day, you are permitted to have a good day. She is distant or cold, you are plunged into a state of anxiety and despair. You analyze her every text, her tone of voice, her body language, searching for clues to your own emotional weather. Her silence is dominance, not inattention. It is a calculated move to watch you squirm, to see how far you will go to win back her favor. You have become an emotional satellite, orbiting her world, with no gravitational pull of your own. The final stage is breaking the silence. This is the death rattle of your authority. It's the dreaded, "we need to talk" conversation, initiated by you. You lay your cards on the table, a pathetic hand of neediness and supplication. You confess your insecurities, your fears that she's pulling away. You ask what you can do to fix things. You have just done the one thing a man in a position of power must never do. You have revealed your strategy, or rather, your lack of one. You have shown her that you are lost, that you need her to give you the map. And when you apologized for things you didn't even do, just to end the cold war of her silence, you signed your surrender. You weren't solving a problem. You were begging for your chains back. Perhaps you're thinking, this is wrong. A healthy relationship is about compromise, about being vulnerable. You have been fed a lie. Compromise is a negotiation between two sovereign powers. What you were doing was capitulation. Vulnerability is showing your scars to someone who has earned the right to see them, not handing a weapon to your adversary. You weren't being a partner. You were being a subordinate. And this dynamic isn't confined to your romantic life. Look at your job. The boss who takes credit for your work? You stayed silent. You failed the test. The colleague who constantly dumps his responsibilities on you? You accepted them with a sigh. You failed the test. You have been programmed to be agreeable, and in the process, you have become erasable. This is the point of no return for so many. The moment you realize the foundation you built your life on is made of sand. If you have ever found yourself apologizing just to restore a fragile peace, if you've ever silenced your own gut instinct to avoid her disapproval, then you know the bitter taste of this surrender. It is time to stop being a casualty and start being a strategist. This channel is your new military academy. Subscribe now, activate all notifications, and press the like button to declare you are done fighting a war with a rulebook designed for your defeat. And in the comments, I want you to answer this. What was the one small concession you made, the one boundary you let slide, that you now realize was the beginning of your own undoing? Acknowledge the first domino. We will build a new fortress from the rubble of those past mistakes. The brutal truth is this. You are in this position because of the choices you made. You chose comfort over respect. You chose harmony over truth. You chose her validation over your own mission. You saw the red flags not as warnings, but as invitations to try harder, to be a better man, according to her ever-shifting criteria. You thought your love and loyalty were assets, but in a game of power, unwavering loyalty without demonstrated strength is a liability. It makes you predictable. It makes you safe. And safe is the enemy of desire. She didn't want a pet. She wanted a dragon she couldn't fully tame. You willingly put on the collar and handed her the leash. No one is coming to save you. Your salvation does not lie in winning her back. It lies in raising the man she discarded to the ground and building an empire in his place. An empire she is not invited to enter. The diagnosis is complete. The weakness has been identified, exposed, and cauterized. Now the reconstruction begins. There is no going back for the weak man. There is only the construction of the new. Let this be burned into your mind, a permanent brand on the soft tissue of your former self. The man she discarded is dead. You are not here to resuscitate a corpse. You are here to salvage the steel from the wreckage and forge a weapon. This is not an emotional journey of healing and forgiveness. This is a cold, logistical operation of demolition and reconstruction. Your feelings are irrelevant. Your pain is merely fuel. Your objective is not to win her back, but to build an empire of self so vast and powerful that her memory becomes a forgotten province, a footnote in the history of your rise. The process is governed by three prime directives, the non-negotiable commandments of your new reality. Cut the excess, install the silence, control the reaction. Cutting the excess is the first, most brutal act of liberation. It is a scorched earth policy against your own sentimentality. You will go through your digital life like an inquisitor purging heresy. Her number is not to be saved under a different name. It is to be deleted, erased. The digital ghost must be exorcised. Your social media is not a memorial to your failure. Every picture of her, of you together, every tagged post, every digital artifact of that shared timeline must be annihilated. This is not an act of anger. It is an act of strategic hygiene. You are sanitizing your operational environment. You cannot build a skyscraper on a toxic waste dump. The physical reminders are next. The gifts she gave you, the clothes she left behind, the stupid little trinkets that litter your space, they are not memories, they are anchors, they are enemy sigils planted in your territory, constantly broadcasting a signal of your defeat. Bag them, burn them, dispose of them. You must create a vacuum. You must erase her so completely from your immediate reality that your own mind is forced to operate without the crutch of her memory. This is surgical. It is not emotional. You are an operator clearing a compromised structure, and any sentimentality is a threat to the mission. Next, you install the silence. This is your most powerful weapon. It is not the passive silence of a wounded animal licking its wounds in a cave. It is an active, offensive silence. A silence that is a declaration of power. The no-contact rule is not a trick to make her miss you. It is a training protocol for your own mind. It is the practice of absolute outcome independence. You will sever all lines of communication. You will not text her. You will not call her. You will not view her social media profiles through a fake account. You will starve yourself of the drug of her attention. In the beginning, this will feel like an amputation without anesthesia. Your addict brain will scream for a fix. You will rationalize. You will bargain with yourself, concocting 1,000 plausible reasons to reach out. I just need closure. I just want to see if she's okay. I need to tell her one last thing. These are the lies of your weakness. Every time you resist that impulse, you forge a new neural pathway. You are recoding your own operating system from need to command. Her expectation, the one programmed by your past behavior, is that you will break. She expects the late-night text, the emotional plea, the desperate attempt to re-engage. Your silence defies that expectation. It creates a pattern interrupt so profound it forces a re-evaluation of who you are. You are no longer the predictable, controllable man she left. You are a black box, an unknown variable. And in the unknown, power resides. The third directive is the mastery of the self. Control the reaction. War is not won on the external battlefield. It is won in the 6 inches of space between your ears. She may attempt to breach your silence. She will send out probes, testing the perimeter of your new frame. A text on your birthday. A hope you're doing well message. A social media post clearly engineered to elicit a response from you. These are not olive branches. They are tactical maneuvers. Checking to see if the remote control she once had over your emotions is still functional. Your reaction is the only thing that matters. To respond with anger is to show she still has power over you. To respond with sadness is to show you are still broken. To respond at all is to signal that your attention is still hers for the taking. The correct response is the most powerful one of all. Nothing. Your non-response is a statement. It says, your access to my emotional and mental space has been permanently revoked. You no longer have the security clearance to affect my state. You become a stone wall against which her emotional manipulations shatter. This is the essence of Stoicism. Not the absence of emotion, but the refusal to be governed by it. You observe your own internal impulses to react, you acknowledge them, and you deliberately choose the path of strategic indifference. You are no longer a slave to the stimulus-response loop she installed in you. You are the master of it. With these directives in place, you begin the reconstruction, which is a 4-front war. You must advance on all fronts simultaneously. The first is the physical. Your body is the avatar of your will. You will transform it. The gym becomes your temple and your laboratory. You will lift heavy weights, forging discipline and physical presence with every rep. You will treat your nutrition not as a matter of taste, but as a fuel strategy for a high-performance machine. You will discard your old wardrobe, the clothes of the man she left, and you will build a new one that signals power, success, and self-respect. This physical transformation is the most immediate signal to the world, and to yourself, that a new regime is in power. When you look in the mirror, you will no longer see the ghost of her rejection. You will see the architect of your own resurrection. The second front is the financial. Money is a tool of power and freedom. You will become obsessed with your mission, your purpose, your career. You will work not just harder, but smarter. You will seek out new skills, demand promotions, or build your own enterprise. Your financial life will no longer be about creating a comfortable nest for a partner. It will be about building a launchpad for your own ambitions. You will become a producer, a creator of value. This relentless focus on your purpose serves a dual function. It builds your empire, and it starves the emotional void she left behind. A man with a mission does not have time to mourn a woman who did not believe in it. He is too busy building a world that she is not qualified to enter. The third front is the social. You will rebuild your hierarchy. You were an emotional satellite orbiting her world. Now, you will become the sun of your own solar system. You will reconnect with your male friends, the brotherhood you likely neglected. You will build a network of powerful, ambitious men. You will learn to lead, to be the center of gravity in social situations. You will not be the agreeable follower. You will be the man who sets the tone. Your social value is not determined by your relationship status, determined by the respect you command from other men and the intrigue you generate in women. You will become a man of options, not by chasing women, but by becoming the man that high-caliber women are naturally. The final front is the symbolic. This is your internal frame. It is the unwavering belief in your own value, independent of any external validation. It is the understanding that you are the prize. You will cultivate your mind. You will read the great works of philosophy, strategy, and power. You will develop an unshakable inner core. This is where the key phrases become your operating code. A man who wants to be loved will be discarded. A man who imposes his presence will be feared. Fear, in this context, is not about intimidation. It is about a profound, almost primal respect for your power, your boundaries, and your self-containment. You will internalize the fact that you must be an absence that weighs heavily, not a presence that begs. Your value is demonstrated most powerfully when you are not there, when the void you leave is more palpable than the space you occupied when you were trying to please her. This is not a hope, it is a plan, a blueprint for the creation of a superior man. The pain of her betrayal was not a curse, it was a gift. It was the catalyst that forced you to see the game for what it is. You will not try to reconquer her. You will replace her with a sharper silence, a silence so complete that it erases her from your past and makes you the master of your future. You are at a pivotal moment. The blueprints are in your hands, but knowledge without action is meaningless. If you are ready to stop being the victim and start being the architect, then commit to this new command. Subscribe to this channel, activate all notifications so you never miss a strategic briefing, and press the like button to signal that the old you is officially decommissioned. Now, for your first act of war. In the comments below, I want a declaration. What is the single most significant piece of excess you will cut from your life in the next 24 hours? Is it her number? The photos? An object that ties you to the past? Name your target. Declare your intent. Let the world bear witness to the first day of your new empire. And so, you arrive at the final act. The reconstruction is complete. The fortress of self you have built stands on the ashes of the man she knew. He is a ghost, a memory of a foreign country you once visited. But the war is not over until the final echo of the old conflict is silenced. The inevitable will happen. A probe will be sent from her world into yours. A text message will appear on your screen, a digital ghost attempting to materialize in your new reality. It will read something innocuous, a Trojan horse carrying an arsenal of emotional manipulation. Hey, was just thinking about you. Hope you're doing well. Or perhaps you will cross paths in the physical world, a chance encounter engineered by fate, or more likely by her design. This is the final exam. This is the moment where all your training, all your discipline, all your newfound power is put to the test. The old you, the man programmed for supplication, would see this as an opportunity, a chance for reconciliation, a chance for closure. Chance to show her how much you've changed, hoping to see a flicker of regret in her eyes. The old you would craft a response for hours, weighing every word, trying to sound casual but impressive, detached but available. The old you would fail the test. The new man, the architect of his own reality, understands this communication for what it is, a power check. She is not reaching out because she misses you. She is reaching out because she senses a shift in the balance of power. Your silence, your absence, has created a vacuum. Her control over you was a source of validation, and now that source has been cut off. She is testing the line to see if it's still live. She is checking to see if the puppet still dances when she pulls the strings. Your response, therefore, is not a communication. It is a declaration of sovereignty. The most powerful response is, and will always be, nothing. A silence so profound, so absolute, that it communicates more than 1,000 words ever could. It says, your message was delivered to an address that no longer exists. The man you are trying to reach is no longer in service. This is not the wounded silence of a boy who is ignoring her to make a point. This is the indifferent silence of a king who does not concern himself with the petitions of a commoner from a land he no longer rules. If a direct response is unavoidable in a public setting, your words are few, your tone is neutral, and your attention is fleeting. Hope you're well. A slight nod. You do not ask questions. You do not engage. You are polite, distant, and utterly uninvested. You are a stranger who happens to know her name. You give her nothing. No anger, no resentment, no longing. You give her a clean, sterile void. You have become a black hole for her emotional energy. It goes in, and nothing comes out. This is the moment you truly understand the game. She expected you to be a player on her board, moving your pieces in reaction to hers. She expected you to try and win the game she defined. She expected you to get angry, to seek revenge, to try and make her jealous. She expected you to flip the board over in a rage, but you did something far more devastating. You didn't flip the board. You simply stood up and walked away from the table. You left the game entirely, and a game with only one player is not a game at all. It is madness. Your indifference renders her entire strategy obsolete. Her power was always contingent on your participation. By withdrawing your emotional investment, you have bankrupted her. This is the ultimate checkmate. Let this be your new definition of revenge. Revenge is not about making her hurt. That is the goal of a small man, still chained to her memory. True, strategic revenge is indifference. It is building a life so magnificent, so focused on your own purpose, that she becomes an irrelevant footnote. Your success is your revenge. Your discipline is your revenge. Your freedom is your revenge. The goal is not for her to see you with a more beautiful woman. The goal is for you to be so consumed by the empire you are building that you barely notice the women who are now drawn to your power. The ultimate victory is when the thought of her, whether good or bad, simply ceases to occupy meaningful space in your mind. She has been relegated from a character in your story to a name in the acknowledgments of a book you wrote long ago. You are no longer the man who was left. You are the man who began. The trauma of her betrayal was not your destruction. It was your initiation. It was the fire that burned away everything that was not essential, everything that was weak. It forced you to answer the most fundamental question a man can face. Are you the creator of your life, or are you a character in someone else's? You have your answer now. You are the author, the director, and the protagonist. Her role in your story is over. She was the catalyst, the inciting incident that launched the hero on his journey. And for that, you can feel a distant, cold gratitude. She broke the boy, and in doing so, cleared the path for the man to be built. So let her watch from the cheap seats. Let her scroll through your social media, if you even have any, and see the phantom of a man she can no longer access. Let her hear stories about you from mutual friends. Let her wonder. Let her construct a narrative in her own mind about the one who got away, the man she failed to see. It is all irrelevant. Her perception of you is no longer part of your reality. You are not building your life as a performance for an audience of one. You are building it as a testament to your own will. You have followed this journey. If you have felt the fire of this transformation in your own soul, then make your allegiance permanent. This is not a channel, it is an arsenal. Subscribe, press the like button, and activate all notifications to ensure you are armed for every battle to come. We are building a new order, and your enlistment is required. And now, for your final decree in this war. In the comments below, answer this one question. What is the one truth you now understand about power, that the old you would have been too afraid to accept? Let your answer be a monument to the man you have become. Let the world see the laws by which you now live. Your greatest revenge is not that she sees you winning. It's that you no longer care if she's watching.